Say what's up, Hippo lovers, over on Twitch and on YouTube. We have Genesis, the $20,000 tournament in the main event. 8 players remain. We have in the blue trunks Vortix playing daily actually against the French of Mr. KASVA. To tell you something about the players, KASVA, an Age of Empires 2 player that initially was a nurse but quit his job, I would think, half a year or maybe a year ago, and wanted to go full-time. Had a rough time, but now finally qualifying for the majors in Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 4 within the same week. So great success over there, going for arguably the strongest civilization. Civ pick rules here are: you can pick civilizations again if you did not win with them. So free choice, obviously in game number 1 we are starting with a map that is similar to Arabia. On the other side, Vortix, one of the two brothers together with Lucifron, opening with Delhi, which is quite a surprise. And now the mosque here, that is not a big surprise. And incredibly accomplished in Warcraft 3, Starcraft 2 and Heroes of the Storm. And I think top 3 in the open beta, together with his brother who was number 1. So they played a lot behind the scenes and are considered to be potentially the 2 big favorites, at least on my paper. I did go for a 3-1 prediction here for Mr. Vortix. And we see the daily opening here, no big surprises. Now obviously going for the efficient production, allows scholars to garrison the military buildings, shooting production speed by 100%. That allows them then to go for example, archery ranges or some barracks and get more spearmen out, get more skirmishers out and such. School of Cavalry, no big surprise there for Mr. KASVA, who is simply going for some knights. 5 on the School of Cavalry. That's quite a high number. And still heavily here on berries, obviously faster gathering rate and double the food there for the daily. I'm still sick and didn't stream a lot over the last 2 weeks. Came over from a harsh flu, actually. Can't remember when I was that sick last time. I hope you will understand, and I will try to soldier through here. Now we can upgrade to Feudal Age ourselves, and going for the Dome of Faith, produce scholars at 50% cost from the landmarks, so could go for some more here. 3 on gold, and I wouldn't be surprised to see barracks, archery range, and then some wild production. As I said, map pretty much like Arabia, and we have seen French dominate quite a bit. Faster knight production, you can already build a knight, which is normally a castle age unit, out of this building that also works as a stable, and production could go pretty crazy. Also another crazy thing is that you can go for an upgrade, which simply allows you to heal up your knights if you're not in combat. Pretty damn crazy. T90 struggling to join the game, but soon he will be around. Upgrades, obviously, as you all know, completely free for daily, and he queues up the faster scholars and then goes for increased health of scholars after that one. Now pulls away from gold at the front, and I'm still surprised that we don't see a single barracks here. So most likely going to be the archer play then. Timing was quite early for KASVA. First knight should be around the corner. You always see the resources at the bottom left for this player, as you can see at the top right. I hope the scoreboard is not too big there. Maybe I can make it a bit smaller. Feels a bit too big. Maybe this feels a bit better, right? So we have some space around the age upgrade there. First knight now coming over. And lots of people were scared that we will see mass amount of French being played. Luckily, already game number 1, we see quite a wild civilization. First villager going down, and as we know, Royal Knights, well, they have a charge attack as well. So first hit is doing extra damage. Now the barracks, first spearmen coming out, and I wouldn't be surprised if the first scholars are going into their barracks for the better production. scout around, knights coming around, and full control here for Mr. KASVA right now. Goes for the next attack. This is such a good opening. I'm really shocked how carelessly Vortix is here. Spearmen were simply defending the berries at the bottom. Villager at the top is getting safe for now. Villagers will make it home, and that knight loses quite some HP. Another villager tries to get home. Spearman there for the defense. Villager does fall, and the scholar gets away. And that knight, he can simply heal up after that one. We can switch into the POV of KASVA and see what upgrades he focuses on for now. Still knight production. Now goes for the archery range. Behind this, wants to deal with the spearmen. Ooh, but interesting approach. Vortix actually getting control of the sacred site here. For everyone who doesn't know that mechanic, we have 3 sacred sites. And normally you can only get control of those in Castle Age, but daily have a special tech that means you can control them. And that gives you, I believe, 100 gold per minute, plus if you control all of them, which on this map is 3, on most map it's 3, you actually win the game if you hold them for 10 minutes. But for now, just simply solid gold income. And honestly, I was not sure what I was expecting of today, but seeing those strategies and seeing the thought process going into this one, I'm getting excited. Oh, 200 for Delhi even. Hello. Okay. Love that. KASVA now expanding a bit here, going for deer. More knights around. I wouldn't be surprised to see chivalry being upgraded any second. And we did not go for it. More archers in the queue. Floating quite some gold. Another knight trying to get aggressive over here. And goes for the second sacred site. Just think about that. And now you see. Vortix, 234 gold per minute. 250 even. As the income, 180 on the other side. I think this overview will be a bit better and will give you a bit better indicator on how they're doing right now. Archer now coming forward, and that sacred site, it is still generating gold till units are coming over and you don't have any units in that radius. So now you lose control and that timer will be broken. You won't win the game, but still getting resources over there, and probably now will contest the center again. And you keep your opponent on his toes. Oh, but those archers now in some problems. Chivalry still not in, if I saw that one correctly. And those are some low HP knights, but with a charge they move in deep and they will just slaughter this one. Nice attacks, but 2 spearmen behind. Maybe get another volley of focusing down that knight. 8 HP, 6 HP, and will get shot in the back. One red paw. Thank you. I'm sorry, I simply have to mute though. I appreciate all the nice messages, but kind of want to focus on the game as well. By the way, the tournament is hosted by, as you can see in the top right corner, EGC. Maybe you stop by, give them some love, give them some shout out. Big risk they took, kind of committing to a game that was not out at that time. And they simply said, okay, we will still try to make it happen. And right now, obviously, with viewer numbers, with the amount of players that signed up as well, right? We had a full 512 people bracket with way more people interested. So, relatively big success here, we have to say. Still keeping the sacred site again. This one is getting contested again. And KASVA, he can't really raid that much, right? He kind of feels like, okay, I have to move in there. Production not that crazy. We have one scholar in here. Goes for the faster archer production. Now contesting that one again. Going for contestant here. But no, the archer's actually chasing that scholar away. Fight in the center. 130 HP on that scholar. Obviously can still heal and fuel edge. And Vortix is playing it quite aggressively. Love that. Yeah, every time this is yellow, I think you are the one gathering more of those resources. That's kind of the indication there. And Sacred Site still one at the bottom that is not being contested as of right now. Archers finding another kill there. And let's quickly take a look at their resources. No one really getting the idea to go to Castle Age. And I'm quite surprised how big of an element the sacred sites are here. Have not seen that much on other maps than King of the Hill, where you only have one sacred site and therefore could potentially win the game quite early on. Spearman count not that high now. Knight count not that high either. 2 low HP knights, 1 sniped down. Second one is getting sniped down as well. Spearman from the back, 2 knights here. But Vortix has to disengage, has to go back, micro back quite a bit. Remember, upgrades should be solid on those archers. You could easily have a blacksmith and get those upgrades in. Remember, all of them for free, but all of them take quite some time. Only now armor coming in as the first upgrade finishes after 3 minutes 22 seconds, and after that the next armor is getting queued in. But now reaching Castle Age here, House of Learning allows us to get more text as well, more into the direction for scholars though. And that probably means we could upgrade our spearmen, we could upgrade our archers, but not really happening. I think I would really like to see a second archer range, but instead we have double barracks, 1 archer range. Wants to deal with those spearmen quite a bit. KASVA, Feudal Age and deep in it. Look at the resources, absolutely at the bottom. And Vortix, floating quite some wood. Oh, that's still in the forest, so that's impossible for Vortix to see right now. As you can see, does not really have the vision into the forest here, if it was not for the scout. Okay, now he has units in there, and now he has men-at-arms. And that is really something that Age of Empires 2 players won't really have the greatest understanding for. But men-at-arms are actually great against archers, because they have way bigger armor here and take very little damage. I think with normal upgrades it's 2 damage. If you have both armor in Castle Age, then potentially you might even only get 1 single damage here and 155 HP. So we need different units. We kind of need Castle Age units here for KASVA. Called a crossbow, which is not the upgrade from the archer, but a single unit on its own to counter those men-at-arms. Now the elephants will come, I hope. Well, that will be quite a bit big task, simply because they are so incredibly costly. I don't really see that happening. Okay, Sacred Site now controlled again. At the top it's controlled. Let's move in here. Men-at-arms at the front, as we said. But not a lot of spearmen, so those knights are still reasonably good. But once the knights are dying, the men-at-arms will quite easily kill all those archers. Speed might not be enough, and now could focus down some of those villagers. 1 already down. Oh, small missed micro there. Found a second kill, and those men-at-arms are obviously slow. Fighting still at the top. Now chasing this one down at the bottom. Those archers have to run. Even hidden running, I don't think will be the best option here. But probably something we will see KASVA still go for. And yeah, now he's running again. Archers could maybe try to find some more shots. Archers behind this. Again, 2 sacred sites controlled here by Vortix. So much gold income. Income per minute, look at that one. 400 exactly, not a single villager on gold as of right now. But KASVA, a very strong economy behind this. Obviously, cheaper upgrades on those economy upgrades, and producing villagers faster means you get through the queue a bit faster. Berries are running out at the top here. Pretty soon, tower there to help out with that battle. Men-at-arms at the front. I'm not really sure if Vortix really wants to take that fight, but archer numbers are heavily dwindling now. And men-at-arms are now closing down the distance. Uh-oh, I think this is not looking too great for KASVA. Men-at-arms, great fight for them. And knight numbers simply non-existent. KASVA, maybe a different approach to this would have been needed after he saw all those men-at-arms. Now chasing down the top. This is looking rough for KASVA. 2 scholars in there, 1 scholar in the barracks, 1 scholar in the archer range, 1 scholar in the barracks, meaning production is just so much faster. Now the tower goes down. Villagers here might just fall as well. Population 76 for Vortix. KASVA on the other side 70, so that's pretty similar. I'm quite surprised by that. Whew, Vortix was quite some aggression. Men-at-Arms good against Knights? Well, I think relatively even. I think Knights are slightly winning, but simply the numbers are just so much better here for our daily player who's now taking another engagement. Plus, he obviously can go for Castle Age upgrades already, while KASVA is still sitting in Feudal Age. That's another fight that looks better for Vortix, in my opinion. Numbers are just so much better. Archers trading off, Knights are all going down, and I think this might even be the GG fight here. Vortix looking pretty hot and pushing all those Knights away. Now the woodline relatively exposed. Vortix is going for the kill. This could be the 1-0 for our Spaniard. Gold really exposed as well. Now trying to find some snipes. Defensive towers being built. Outpost here for the defense. Going in deep under the TC. I'm quite surprised that we see that one. Tries to find some more villager kills. Indeed, that's what is happening. TC cannot be targeted. Therefore, the focus will always be on the front men-at-arms that are diving in a bit too deep for my taste. Next contest there on the sacred side at that end. And that's a lot of idle time. And now we can see the income per minute in shambles for the poor KASVA. Idle villagers here at the gold as well. Runs out in not even 200 gold. And then we have to make some wild expansions. Whew. Your game brightness seems a bit high. Well, I had a bright day. Investing 200 wood to protect 150 gold. Well, it's also to protect the villagers. But yeah, I can see what you see there. It's great. Leave it. Okay. Oh, a bit short there. Sacred Site needs to get controlled by a scholar again. Going for more berries here. And some more night raids. So KASVA, after defending this one, feels solid. Villager count 54 on KASVA's side. Vortix sitting at 47. Holy moly. KASVA is still ahead. That's just French. Just feels so broken in that regard. Villager count 50 though for Vortix. Military count 50. While we see 7 on the side of KASVA. So army is just so much better. Whew. Veteran Spearman, now the upgraded version there in Castle Age. I would not be surprised if we are now checking this one here for siege engines so that we can build some ramps open on the field. Could make an attack happen against the town center. So remember, we are in the 3rd age here for Vortix, only Feudal Age for KASVA. Only 1 spearman there for the defense. Would love to see some more. We are back to controlling 2 sacred sites. Now going for the 3rd sacred site already. Where's T90? Florida. Sacred site 100 gold per minute for every civ that is not daily. They get 200 gold per minute. Oh, a bit out of position here. Now more spearmen are coming over. And that man-at-arms spearman composition just feels so good against French.
Neely, hello.
Oh, there he is.
I assume the game ended on your end. Do you want to catch me up to speed briefly? 20-second synopsis of what happened in game 1.
I'm still in it. It kind of is nearing the end, though. Whoops. And yeah, Vortix is simply playing quite nicely. Played some early scholars, tried to contest those sacred sites, and played Archer Spearman against the Mass Knight and Archer, but we simply couldn't get the fast Castle Age transition because those knights needed upgrades and needed to get massed out. So Vortix, without investing anything into his upgrades, could go for Castle Age a bit earlier, and then he could go for Men-at-Arms, which is a pretty crazy unit, and we see the 1-0 here. So maybe I was slightly behind the 5-minute normal delay, and we have the 1-0 lead for Vortix, who we consider to be the favorite in this one.
Yeah, sorry about that. I heard from the admins it was over, and I heard silence on your end, so... small spoilers there, Nilly, but we got the issues resolved, and sounds like Vortix had a pretty good game plan.
Yeah, yeah. And this was against arguably the best civilization.
Yeah, and maybe Vortix, based on my little bit of research and our conversations about Vortix, maybe he kind of played into the fact that it was expected that Franks would be picked early here, and used a lot of his time training to develop a strategy against Franks. Like to hear it.
And now he still has Franks, right? But remember, KASVA also still has Franks. Or French.
That's true.
So it's not like, oh, you beat the strongest civilization. No, you might face it again.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess the only thing that changes is you won't see Delhi from Vortix anymore. Were you coming into today thinking Delhi would be strong on your rough tier list in your head?
Not top 4. That's not in my top 4.
Yeah, based on what I've seen, it seems like one of the more awkward civilizations to figure out at the moment. Haven't seen a lot of players grinding it, testing with Delhi. It's been more so other civilizations. So strong sign for Vortix. I did actually speak to KASVA, and I meant to say this, leading up to game 1. I said, what are your thoughts today? And he was like, let me look at his exact wording. He said, I hope 3-0 for me. And I was expecting more of like a, I think he's favored or whatever, but he says, I hope 3-0. So apparently that's ruined.
And the tricky thing is also, if you contest those sacred sites, you can never control them, right? You can only have the scenario neutral or the opponent has them.
Yeah, sacred sites are interesting. I think, like, in general, I really like what sacred sites bring to the game. I think that there's some awkward aspects of sacred sites, and like being able to take out landmarks, for example, to get victory, which people may or may not be sold on. But I've really enjoyed watching it.
I think it's exactly what we needed, because there are so many like stalemate games that we have seen in other RTS where this aspect was not included, and I think it just adds so much. I'm not sure if I like this like King of the Hill 1 sacred site in the center format, but having 2 or 3, I think it just adds so much more aggression.
Maybe this is just my AoE2 brain talking, but I kind of like the idea if sacred sites didn't exist all the time. Kind of like, I mean, we don't have too many examples in Age of Empires 2, but Aftermath for Empire Wars. Like that was a map that switched up the focus, and so from map to map you had kind of different objectives.
Okay.
But yeah, like maybe one, I agree with you, one sacred site is probably a little lackluster.
Yeah, it also felt a bit luck-based sometimes, and you can get into more civ wins. We're going into very different civilizations now again. We will have KASVA. Now he himself plays Delhi. And Vortix goes Mongols.
Ooh, okay. I mean, I absolutely hate playing with the Mongols right now. But this is not, this is just my personal feel because I'm not used to them yet. From what I've seen, I feel like if you get Mongols down, it has so much potential. And I know that KASVA has played probably like more games than any other player in AoE4 so far.
I think Vortix and Lucifron played more, but KASVA might be the one that played most ladder games with Mongols, I wouldn't be surprised if he played over 200 Mongol ladder games. So he should have a good idea of what Vortix might be up to.
Okay. So we have Delhi for KASVA kind of choosing the civilization that gave the opponent the victory. And what do you think Vortix is going to be up to? Like, do you think we're going to see a lot of early game aggression? It seems to be what I've seen with Mongols.
Do we even know the map in the loading screen? It's not really shown, right?
Oh, I don't see the map.
It feels so weird.
Well,
they're not showing the map.
That would be a great thing to talk about considering we have a 5-minute count. Yeah, well, I guess we're going to find out, and this is our time to talk about the civilizations, Nilly.
So Mongolian Heights is the map.
Oh, okay, good. So we have that information. I actually, it's nice to see Mongols on Mongolian Heights first off. You didn't see Mongols on Mongolia too much in Age 2.
Yeah.
But I do not know Mongolian Heights very well.
Yeah, I only checked Wikipedia as well, like with so many other things, and it is the thing with the river in the center and like the three passages, I believe. So we had different approaches of people trying to wall it off, and we had different approaches of people with French trying to control the river. But sometimes people just ignored it and ran over it like they didn't even care.
Yeah. Okay, I think I know which map you're talking about. There might be a few that are similar. I think there's quite a few maps that have some water aspects in the center, but if I recall it, unless you commit rather early, I mean that's probably going to be somewhat open there. So I don't know as much about Vortix, but I can tell you that at least with KASVA style, I think he tends to play to the extremes. So I'd say maybe he chooses to be aggressive, expecting some walls from Vortix, or he's just going to sit back, play
Or
more
he
defensive.
might be the one now, right? Going for some walls because it's so easy to control the map and like there's already so much walling for you
Yeah.
that he might just try to go for the sacred sites himself now and just wall the center. Maybe if you have two sacred sites for yourself, impossible for your opponent to contest early on, and simply 400 free gold.
Well, I think with his civilization, it makes sense to take that approach. And it almost suits the Mongols and maybe Vortex even to be more aggressive.
And just build some spearmen, right? Because daily they can wall with their spearmen as well on open field. And Mongols most of the time go for early horsemen or scouts. So that would be really nice. And then Mongols kind of pushed into archers here.
Yeah. What do you think about the Mangadai as a unit? And what's your overall feel?
I think they are a really well designed unit and very well balanced. They just feel so incredibly bad because we, as Age of Empires 2 backgrounders, think Mangudai is like the unkillable great unit, which it simply isn't.
Yeah, it's very different here. Yeah, I agree. I think it's balanced. I've run into situations where it's felt weak or felt strong. So definitely a numbers thing, definitely a momentum thing. Vortex will look to have some control here. I think he has to have control of the map throughout the whole game here.
And rumors have it that there are only two sacred sites on Mongolian Heights. So
Are they?
maybe.
I forget where they're located though. Are they located on either side of the river?
Yeah.
Should be, right?
So maybe we see another play and another. And it's way easier. He might try to win this one in Feudal Age.
Okay.
Huh.
Well, here we go. Here we have it. In the blue, we have Vortex, winner of the first game. At Vortex starting off here with the Mongols. In the blue and the red, you'll have KASVA. And KASVA playing as the Deli Nilly. Good to finally be casting some games here.
Yeah, finally here and finally with Age of Empires 4. And we will take a good look at those sacred sites. And one very far in the left-hand side here for Vortex will be easy for him to control, but the other one completely out of reach. So KASVA, actually KASVA will get that one for free, basically.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really good for him.
That is incredibly good for him to end up right next to that sacred site. But they're also they've got quite a distance between them in terms of the crossings. You can see that there's two that will probably be used, one up through the middle. So there's like an avenue there, or this avenue maybe towards the right side for KASVA. I'm scouting around right now, see what's up.
Yeah, interesting to see for sure. What upgrades are we going first for here? Interesting. He's not really using his building right now to upgrade anything. Or am I in the wrong view? KASVA. Ah, now he is. Okay. Sanctity
Yeah.
flying in, efficient production flying in as well.
Yeah, cool. I just want to verify because this is the first time I've cast the game live with someone. You're at 120, right? I assume we're at the exact same time.
Yeah. You should see top right should show you the real life time, and I'm behind like 2 seconds or 3 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked because I have that covered up because it can sometimes spoil games.
Yeah, obviously you used the official Genesis EGC logo there because you read the tournament rules properly.
I did.
Nice. Okay.
And I have the logo. It actually reminded me to move it around though. But I read all the rules this morning, but apparently misstep on some of the spectating. But okay, there you've got that Uvu for Vortex. And some Dark Age stuff right now, Nilly. So you're thinking maybe we see the Mongols playing to scouts here and KASVA kind of expects that and blindly counters it.
Huh, yeah, that's the big question. Oh, we're now going for the first attack here. Scout is trying to intercept the villager in the center. Vortix, is he committing with that tower? Looks a bit like it right now. Scout's not that crazy good, and yeah, KASVA is disengaging. The dock will go, or the dock is already up, and the tower will go up as well.
Yeah, so outpost 100 wood, and it seems fairly strong and worth the investment at times, especially if you want to make sure that villager survives, fishing ship survives. There goes KASVA. But yeah, I think in a 1v1 fight, the scout will win against the villager, but it's very close, right? It's almost like a scout attacking a villager with Loom in Dark Age in Age 2.
Yeah, and that's not even with the equivalent of Loom being researched, right? Tech shield, 75 HP,
Exactly.
and then you would probably be winning against the scout, but the kill animation just feels so slow compared to Age of Empires 2, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it takes, just like anything else, and these players have it, a lot of games to get really used to the feel of any engagement. And there we have the walls, Nilly. So KASVA hoping to wall up on that choke point to the right of his dock.
But how important is that going to be? Especially because he's not walling towards his ships. Oh, fishing boats going over there now. And I think fishing boats, they have archers on there, right? With Daily?
Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. I don't remember Nilly. I believe so. It would make sense. And yeah, there you go. Now the outpost is there. And we'll see how beneficial the outpost is in this type of situation. But great strategy from KASVA. Though it seems like it does take a while to take out the fishing boats.
Yeah, fishing boats are obviously healing next to a dock, so I think maybe waiting for 3 fishing boats could have been an option. The Khan now shooting out of the tower, but it feels like 1 fishing boat could be go down. But no. Fishing boats can actually repair other fishing boats as well.
Yeah, and it feels like this strategy has been completely countered now. I mean, Vortix, granted, there's more fishing ships coming in, but great response from Vortix. This strategy doesn't seem strong at all for KASVA. He's done very little damage to these fishing boats, as they're still working for the most part this entire time.
Yeah, I think he got 1 kill, but now it will be really tricky with the tower out here. Tries to go in again, but now his own fishing boats are under quite some problems trying to heal up, and I think he will get away. Well, at least he forced some idle villager time.
Yeah, he did force some idle villager time. It was interesting how Vortix decided to send Vils into the outpost, but clearly he's a little worried about this because he's going to make another one. KASVA just decides to go home. But if you think of the economic efficiency, KASVA had 1 fishing boat working there and 4 on the offensive there. So I think better situation for Vortix economically on water, but KASVA is getting what he wants with the walls down. So that's another thing we have to think about.
Already walled all 3 passages twice with the gate, and he still has lots of sheep on the enemy side. Look at that.
Khan goes down for Vortix. Against the fishing boats. That's a little sloppy there.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that. Obviously, the Khan respawns as well, so we'll have to wait 2 minutes for the Khan, but gets it for free. Unfortunate for sure, but not the biggest loss.
I think he obviously knew the fishing boats were probably around there, but I think he just wanted to get some vision in that area to confirm that the walls were down. He probably suspects something's up with that. Yeah, he didn't quite make it there to be able to see if the walls were there on the eastern side.
So many fishing ships here by Vortix. Shorefish obviously 1,000 food. Deep fish would have 2,000, and Vortix actually scouting with a fishing ship here. Probably wants to get some better idea of what's really going on, but that's kind of ambitious. And yeah, has to go back.
He's gonna head back there. And you get the notification from Vortix's point of view anyways. Enemy is capturing Sacred Site, but there's literally nothing you can do about it on this map. With the way KASVA's played it, KASVA's in the exact spot he wants to be in.
And KASVA even towering the shorefish there as well. Double dock approach was started, but then the dock was cancelled by Vortix again. Quite interesting. And this one could be a run towards Castle Age here, no?
Kind of feels like it. I mean, you know, what's interesting to me, Nilly, is how much range a dock has for healing. Like, that outpost is not going to take out those fishing boats because of it being so close to the dock. So
And he has a villager and a scout in there, so he's doing some okayish damage, but still takes quite some time. Now, what's the approach here? We see deer stones moving further forward, and I'm a bit surprised. What's the approach here, Vortix? What are we building in Feudal Age?
Yeah, he's rolling that thing forward. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Obviously, the location matters. And KASVA actually even adding some walls to block Vortix's passage down towards the east here, Nilly. So
really love those.
Extending his palisade walls.
Yeah, we have seen that on some Age of Empires 2 tournaments as well. Some maps there where there was an option, but didn't think KASVA would take that into consideration. Now the light junk is out, and that's something I told my girlfriend multiple times. And tries to harass now quite a bit, but fishing ships are fighting back. One is getting repaired, and now just disengaging. But that actually means that the walls won't go up.
Yeah, okay. It does deny the walls for now. He's brought this con in here, and he's going to start focusing on that gate. And for KASVA, he's invested a lot of time and focus into protecting himself here. I think he's going to need a little bit more if this continues. But he does, he does have a lot of fishing boats he could use. He's now has the Dow here, so he's definitely going to contest on water.
Let's see. Towers will try to defend as well with that. Quite some idle villagers, and the mechanic simply in Age of Empires 4 is that if you're close to your own dock, your ships will heal automatically, and that will be interesting. Ooh, actually going for the other sacred site.
That's a very weak scholar there, Nilly. He's very close to getting that. He's at 50%. There's no unit really. Okay, here comes the con for Vortix. Vortix wants to try and deny that. It feels like the sacred site will complete before the con arrives there, but it's going to be so close.
Not the biggest difference, right? The scholar will die, and you would have gotten some resources, but probably not enough. But actually, scholar, he actually should not get pushed away. I think he could have finished it, It can't does so little damage.
What is it, 4? Yeah, 4 damage. All right, so maybe KASVA should have just stayed there and accepted the scholar was going to go down. Very interesting map, Nilly. I mean, we've just got ships attacking walls right now. But eventually, you've got to think there's going to be a breakthrough, and there are archers behind all this for Vortix. He's ready to run through.
Ooh, and quite some numbers. Where are those coming from? Double archer range next to the oval. Invested all his stone into that, I would assume. Yeah, down to 180. More archers in production. Those are crazy numbers, and KASVA should have no idea about this.
Yeah.
He's going Castle Age.
KASVA going for the boomy approach this entire game. Happy to just wall up. Did try and pressure a little bit with fishing ships, but backtracked on that. And now he's going to get the notification. Now he's going to see this. The archers are through. The con is with them. And, having the con with the archers will make this a lot more effective. And it feels like Vortix is even going to take some control on water right now.
Yeah, looks really good for him. And there's still no military out for KASVA at all. Vortix sits at a solid 44 villages and 32 military. On KASVA's side, 12 military, but I don't really see it. I don't even know where.
Yeah, military might... I'm not sure about that one either.
Is this even going up?
This could be a Dow to House of Learning.
Looks like it only half the HP. Oh no, this could mean he will never reach Castle Age.
And then all this investment is a disaster.
This looks horrible for KASVA.
He has to commit here. If you don't get this up, your whole game plan is out the window anyways. You almost have to. But Vortix is all over him. He's completely surprised KASVA. He's making rams behind this as well, Nilly. I mean, even if it goes up, it might not stay up.
Now he goes for some horsemen, but doesn't even have the resources to go for them. Had to buy some wood because they cost 20 wood as well. Now tries to invest with more villagers. I think that will be some new dead bodies.
Oh, man. And you just got to feel so good if you're Vortix right now. Even if this goes up, and I don't think it'll ever go up, he's just going to ram it right down, and he's going to be able to continue the pressure. This is insane.
Goes for the tower first. Feels like, okay, that's the bigger threat. Horsemen, obviously, a great counter to archers, but simply the numbers not there yet.
Yeah, numbers important here. Behind is so much control for Vortix. He's been able to also clear out virtually everything on water. Ram goes down. Good defense there from KASVA, but not enough horsemen, Nilly. There's only 2 there. They're about to die.
I think he will reach Castle Age though, but with so many losses, pop 40 here for Vortix only. That won't be enough.
Vortix at 85 population. And there we go. Now this goes up. But it's like, what can you do? What can you afford? The walls were just not enough. That Ram still there. Ram distracting a lot of these villagers as the villagers are just getting sniped by the archers.
34 population, 20 of them idle here for KASVA.
Vortix is just came out of nowhere with those archers. I really like how he hid the archers behind. You know, like I think a lesser player would have maybe sat the archers closer and given KASVA some time. But you could see the panic in KASVA when he had to pull more villagers, expecting the House of Learning could be denied. Really hard to counterattack on this map as well, Nilly. So even if Vortix did like less damage with that attack, it still would take KASVA a bit of time to be able to run out across the map with whatever he wanted to counter with. But he does have, speaking of, 2 horsemen over and around Vortix's base.
Oh, tricky situation. But what can we do? Vortix even reaching Castle Age behind this. Probably just upgrading his archers to veteran archers. And then he should be looking golden. Probably just one more engagement.
Yep. I just don't see the amount of numbers needed from KASVA here. He doesn't really even have a high level of production. Like, his resources looking so bad. So after the horsemen that come out, he might be hard pressed to be able to make more of them. And Vortix with good responses here. 2 horsemen counterattack is not what you want. Fast for Castle Age, man.
Yeah, it's really tricky, and those villagers could maybe even fight back. Look at those numbers of villagers on wood, and now we're taking out the tower at the front. Vortix in full control here.
Yeah, it seems like it. And it almost like Vortix is... He's making KASVA look like a much lesser player right now. I mean, KASVA, he made it here for a reason, man. He's been putting in the hours for AoE4. And has performed quite well. Much better in comparison to some of the other Age 2 pros that were above his level. And Vortix, all that time paying off, all that esports experience, man. And it's just... KASVA should give it a shot if he feels like there's an opportunity, but he needs to fight pretty soon. And it's gonna have to be a good one.
The big question is, though, maybe we are in the state of Age of Empires that hiding strategies is so important. Vortix, Lucifron, playing off stream every single day, multiple hours. KASVA, he put everything out there. He is streaming full time. He is simply showing all his strategies. Might be a mistake in the long run.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, I think that's a fair point, but I also think the level of execution that Vortix brought to the table in this game just seems to be higher as well. As he's sniping some random scholars. But that's something you definitely got to think about, and I know you had mentioned it with using Viper as an example. A lot of the AoE2 pros, you know, the opportunity to stream, there's certainly benefit to that, certainly some fun to that. Here's a counterattack from KASVA. He's attacking and he's doing a pretty good job, forcing these villagers to at least head back to the TC. But yeah, man, I think that like, it's such a cool story that Vortix and Lucifron are practicing mainly off stream. They're developing strategies. Like, how awesome would it be if you had a brother who is as good as you in Age of Empires that you could just train with all the time?
That's the dream. Yeah. That's kind of the dream. We had that a bit in Age of Empires 2 with Malco and Fëanor, who, after they really put their heart in, had some big success as well, but then focused a bit more on real life.
Yep. Yeah, they haven't been around the scene too much. They do play team games from time to time, but these RTS games, man, they take a lot of focus, a lot of time, and it has paid off for Lucifron and Vortix. Here come the Lancers. But again, it's the same issue for KASVA as before. He does not have the numbers, nor the eco to catch up in the numbers.
Veteran archers now, the Lancers in front, and yeah, 95 population against 52. Okay, KASVA did a solid job trying to come back. Try to even wall in the sacred side at the left-hand side. Look at that. Yep. But the junk cock blocking there. Well,
you called it, right? You'd said maybe that you would wall in with Delhi, and maybe it comes back to the being predictable. But those Rams, man, very strong. Well played here from Vortix. We are also, since this game is fresh, like even to us, we're assuming, this game is probably over, right? I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but I think at this stage, players are going to fight a lot harder in this tourney because it's harder for them to know if they're dead than maybe if they play this game for another 3 years.
Yeah, you see the same still with basically every RTS, right? The lower the level, the less idea people have how far or behind they are in the game.
Yep.
How far ahead or behind they are in the game. So resign timings will always be worse, and I think it will get better over the next month and years.
Sure. I mean, and I think it's important for viewers as well, just to be able to see why and mentally process someone would win or lose. But match completes there, Nilly. Vortix up 2-0. I, of course, didn't see the first game because of some issues on my end. But Vortix in full control. Was this more of a stump than the first game, or would you say the first game was a little bit more competitive?
This one, I think it's pretty similar. This one obviously felt really anticlimactic because if Vortix just hits 2 minutes later and KASVA gets like 4 knights out or 4 lancers out, the game is completely different, right? It was one timing attack, one time not scouted by KASVA, didn't really have the vision on the other side, and then it was basically over simply because he denied that H3 building.
Yeah, there you can see all the economy differences here, the military KD, which wasn't too terribly different. I do have a question for you, though, Nilly. Do you think that KASVA trying to use his fishing ships offensively was a wasted effort there? Do you think it would have been different or even slightly different if he kept those fishing ships working for a time instead of trying to get kills, which never came?
I think it's really good if the opponent doesn't have the defensive tower.
Yeah.
But KASVA saw the defensive tower, so I'm kind of surprised that he still went for it.
Yeah, I think part of it could be lack of experience at this point. Like KASVA, for example, in Age 2 would go in with a game plan, and if that game plan doesn't happen, he's got like 3 or 4 roads to spin off. He understands how to transition more because he's more experienced there. So maybe for KASVA, he kind of got bested there, and he was just like, oh, crap. Well, now what? Because that was supposed to work right there. It worked against all the people I trained this against, so.
Yeah. Well, maybe Vortix Lucifron figured that out as well. Felt like, okay, early rushing there on water makes lots of sense. Just build a defensive tower. Because that was like dock, and before he built the second fishing ship, already the tower, which is a big investment, right? 100 wood, I believe.
Yeah. I really felt like Vortix had faced that before, or there was no pressure in that situation. I mean, he did pull the villagers to hop into the outpost. I almost would have liked to have seen that instance if he didn't do that to see if there would have been a difference there. Because it did feel maybe like a little bit panicky, but also could have been well calculated. Maybe he just knows.
Yeah, it is tricky. It felt like the repair and the dock healing was so strong that probably even without pulling too many villagers, a hold could have been possible. But what's the problem with pulling the villagers? Because then you can go into shorefish, fastest food income you can get for villagers.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about docks healing fishing ships? Do you like it or do you hate it? Or are you in between?
It's healing every ship, right?
Yeah.
Right now I don't like it because it feels so campy. And it just rewards sitting at home too much. But
yeah, I agree.
I think we have bigger problems on water fights right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. I the first time I actually witnessed that competitively was when you played Viper. I don't know if you... Well, no, you did see the upload because you made fun of my tags. Anyways, so that was like a week and a half ago, I think. And I noticed that it seemed to be quite strong. You don't need to invest as much on water, but you can play better from a defensive position. Maybe if it was just healing one type of ship, could be cool. But everything, including your navy, is a little tricky.
Ooh. And we're going into game number 3, which will be a French mirror. So, yeah, some people will be like, oh, we already saw French. Yeah, but we didn't see a win of French, so we can still keep on playing French. And I would assume, without seeing the map, we will go for Boulder Bay.
Okay, Boulder Bay.
My
Now,
prediction.
isn't Boulder Bay kind of as close as you get to a pure water map
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
as it is, right? I'm just trying to remember here. I
Yeah.
think I played Lucifron on Boulder Bay, which was like one of my first games, and this could not have been him, but if I recall, it was Lucifron,
Mm-hmm.
and I got completely stomped, and it was a French mirror. So, oh god,
You need to have so much knowledge about this at the start, right? How do you build up? How do you try to micro your ships as
right?
well? It is really weird. So it's something that I'm not sure if we should talk about it too much yet because it might not be Boulder Bay. I'm just assuming because French feels so good on that map and both are jumping on it.
Yeah, Boulder Bay would make sense to me. So yeah, I mean, from a casting perspective, Nilly, I really wish the like if there was a delay, I think it would just look better for the user and for any viewers on streams or whatever if this box wasn't so in the way, you know? Like have a nice little countdown at the bottom right, make it look nice and clean, doesn't cover up the names, and then
Yeah.
maybe just show the maps. And you could there's space here where you could even show the picture of the map, which would be quite nice on the
Yeah.
loading screen.
Yeah. I think that was posted somewhere as well. So I'm pretty sure developers are aware of it. And yeah, on Monday we will get a new patch. Let's see what
think
they
the patch
put on their priority list. I don't think it will get a prettier box for the spec delay.
No. I don't expect that for a while. I've kept my expectations low. That said, I think they did tease some things that would come out on Monday. I don't think it's a huge one, Nilly. I think it's mainly addressing the Mongols
And Roos, I believe.
and Roost. Yeah, okay. But yeah, hopefully, like it would be very nice if there'd be some additional
Oh,
inclusions.
game 3 actually is Arabia.
Oh, okay. So, okay, well, it's good we didn't spend time talking about Boulder Bay. Well, I'm excited for Arabia. Pure lands map, maybe a little bit more aggression than the previous one from KASVA, because KASVA won't be able to wall quite as much. Does have some differences, of course, but do you think there's a meta on Arabia with the French? Because if there was ever a meta that would be found out quickly, it would probably be a French war on Arabia.
Yeah, and I don't know yet. I saw a brilliant strategy by the Mister, who went for the scout upgrade that they can carry the carcasses. And then opened 2 scouts, shot all the deer, and got all the deer next to his town center, and was not raidable at all. While his opponent, Willis, in that game, had to expand, had to go for different deers, different berries, and lost villagers left and right. And I absolutely love that strategy. Say again?
Who did he play against? Sorry?
Willisse. The Mister
Okay.
versus Willisse. It was the last round of the qualifier.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, here we have it. Game 3, and it's been all about Vortix so far. It is a French war. You've probably seen and experienced a lot of this if you're a viewer or player out there. But yeah, Nelly, that's a pretty cool upgrade. You know, I haven't seen it too much, so I have my fingers crossed that maybe we'll see that again here.
Maybe in one of the Mister games. That would be interesting. Or maybe if people go for Roos. For Roos, we have seen it multiple times because simply you kill so much hunt regardless.
Yeah, exactly. It makes more sense because you're already incentivized to do that. All right, well, KASVA in the south, still sticking in the red color. Vortix in the north, in the blue. And, but nothing really to talk about too far here, Nilly. Do you think that, like, map and resource positions are something we'll discuss more or less in Age 4? I feel like it will largely depend on the map, but...
The thing is, in H2, we have to talk about it in the first 8-9 minutes, right? So it is just such a big must. And it feels like the more people play and the more people figure out the game and how to open, the more map wins we see. I think, for example, French Mirror, if you have a gold spot at the front, it's a big disadvantage against your opponent. So I think it is relatively similar.
Yeah, the big thing for me and the reason I asked it is the gold positions. So fortunately, it seems like Vortix has this gold somewhat near the back, so that's fine. KASVA's actually got 2 near the back. That's not too bad as well. But yeah, it just based on some experience, casting and viewing, I think it's a good point. Players have to know how to abuse it. They have to know how to utilize the maps, which it might not be at that stage just yet. But just like anything else, over time, people will figure it out.
Interesting approach here. Vortix, the normal French build order is 7 on food, 3 on gold. We're seeing 8 on food here and then 4 on gold. So we'll be a bit quicker in that regard.
Yeah, he did. We don't have any stats that really show the idle time, and maybe it's the first Age 1 1v1 tourney, so we shouldn't be too nitpicky. But Vortix did get housed at 10 pop for like half a vil, which, if that was Age 2, we'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, come on, you played this for 10 years." So
did it show it, or did you actually watch the TC? Because it works differently in Age of Empires 4, right? It still finishes the whole villager. It says you are housed, and it basically only blocks you at 99%. And once you finish the house, it will eject the villager.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think maybe I'm caught in Age 2 brain, but I thought he was actually pop locked. But it would make more sense that Vortix would not make that rather elementary mistake, as we see the School of Cav. Surprise, surprise for KASVA. He is on his way to the next age. And you see this a whole lot with Franks.
Also, something I really hated when I started playing Age of Empires 4 was the minimap. And now I kind of feel it looks so much cleaner than I thought. It just looks so confusing with all the like different white symbols. But I kind of get used to it.
Well, I would say that my issue with the minimap right now is not so much in Dark Age, but it's in like the mid game. I think it is a lot more difficult to pick up what's going on with all the various things that happen on the minimap later on in the game. But again, it's like, how much of our opinions when we say we like don't like something stem from the fact we're not used to it. Like the best example that I have to keep reminding myself of is we see KASVA reach feudal and Vortix will behind him. When I was playing the definitive edition beta for Age 2, I didn't like the way the units looked.
Yeah.
And now and then I got used to it, and now I look back at the old graphics and I'm like, how did we play this? So I think there's a whole lot of that with anything new, and that's perspective we all need to try and keep in our minds.
Yeah. I was so mad how they ruined Age of Empires there, and how I couldn't distinguish the units, and now I would never want to go back.
Yeah, and I think there's similar complaints with not being able to distinguish units in Age 4 right now, but that could all come with time too. We'll see. But here comes a Royal Knight out across the map. KASVA was faster to that Royal Knight. We'll see how much of a difference that makes for him. And he's, of course, going to be queuing up more. You expect something similar from Vortix. Just double-checking here.
Early blacksmith.
A blacksmith, wow.
And you get the attack upgrade for free. Oh, in my mind, you always just got it. Or do you need the blacksmith? You need the blacksmith. I didn't know that.
Oh, wait a sec. I thought you had it as well. But is it really that big of a deal, Nilly?
29 to 30. Well, you win the 1v1 fight.
I was going to say, like, one extra attack when you have 29 base attack is not like...
Yeah, that's 29 with charge, right? The base attack is lower, I believe.
I wish they did a better job of showing some of that.
Yeah.
I really like how, like, in Age, it has +1 or +2, so it shows you. But for now, it seems like Vortix, and I'm not sure if he spotted it, but he seems to expect KASVA. But he doesn't see KASVA right next to his gold there, nearly. KASVA with a very sneaky knight, and oh boy, charges right in there. Immediate reaction, though, from Vortix. Still should be a villager down there, but oh, KASVA, he misjudged that. There we go, gets the villain, will run away. Oh, he runs in with another one, Nilly. This is really good for KASVA.
Nah, he lost the knight. He killed 2 villagers now. Killed 3 villagers.
I guess the question is how much is this going to snowball him in terms of numbers? Because this could always lead to a Vortix counterattack with all these numbers. Good job from Vortix. He is not chasing with 3. He's just gonna chase with 1. But KASVA's just gonna continue to do this. KASVA's got another one. He's happy to just sacrifice these knights to try and kill Vils.
Is it going to be the best plan in the long run, though? Villagers getting microed back. We now see textiles, so 75 HP instead of 25. Goes in deep. Does he want to commit?
Oh, doesn't get the kill. You're right, Nelly. This could be a problem long term here for KASVA. He's going to need some numbers. But at least he got some reward for the attack as he sends another knight over towards the deer for Vortix.
Vortix expanding at the front here, built an outpost next to his deer. We'll try to deal with the knight at the left-hand side again. And eco should be better for KASVA. We have 28 villagers for him. Vortix is sitting on 25.
Okay, so good to know that they've kept the TCs working and all the important details we normally assume. But I could feel the counterattack happening now, right? Vortix finally confident to push out across the map. It feels like with something like a Royal Knight, it's so expensive. Maybe diving for 1 or 2 Vil picks might not end up being worth it in the long run.
And those knights have lots of HP, while KASVA was microing them back quite nicely, but still didn't get Chivalry, so can't really heal up, doesn't have the gold right now.
Chivalry, such an insane upgrade here. But he does have the numbers at home. Like if he needed them, he would have them here. So you've got to think Chivalry's probably going to come in here shortly. I forget the cost of that, actually.
50 wood, 125 gold. Oh, so he had
it.
enough gold. Yeah, I think it's such a crucial upgrade to get now.
I also don't think it's an upgrade that should be in Feudal Age.
Yeah, I think it's so bad. So bad.
I saw a post that was like, yeah, but historically, Chivalry was in the Feudal Age. And
then it should do something else.
Yeah, exactly. We need to change the upgrade then. Because you see a whole lot of this right here. It didn't take long for this meta to develop. I'm excited to see what Vortix can do with a little bit of momentum. He will not be able to take a straight-up fight against KASVA's units right now, but maybe he can split up some units. Or just catch KASVA off guard, because when you're sitting back like this, you're prone to make some mistakes or be surprised a little bit.
13 villagers on gold now. KASVA is moving out. Goes for more deer at the other side. KASVA fighting this army is so good for him.
Oh, that's a great find right there. Yeah, Vortix was looking for an opening, wasn't able to find the opening. And now KASVA feeling good, I'm sure. I'm trying to see if there's really anything else, they could switch into here, Nilly, but I think it will come as no surprise. You're just going to see a whole lot of Royal Knights. And KASVA's going to chase that whole army down as well. Oh, great fight for KASVA here.
Oh yeah, Vortix, that's a knight loss he should have never had to suffer from. And now needs to disengage, goes in for another raid. Woodline relatively exposed at the front, Tristan.
Oh, yep. He's going to have 3 here. KASVA feeling good. This is when Vortix comes in to surprise him, and this could maybe even out the Vil count. Let's see what the reaction is for KASVA. KASVA loses 2. Not the end of the world, but good job from Vortix, as he also was able to free up his Royal Knights and send them back to his base. That's important too.
35 versus 34 villages, 8 military for Vortix. KASVA sits on 11, so better knight number for KASVA.
Yeah. It's just this big group. I'm looking at it as it heads over towards Vortix's base, and I'm just like, how do you stop that many? You'd expect Vortix to maybe have some reinforcements show up at home here. He is not thinking too offensively right now, Vortix, so he's happy to get those kills, and now he's bracing himself for this attack, and he's bringing everything home. He's healing up with Chivalry, and KASVA's still waiting. Maybe just doing some things at home right now, but still not really showing himself to Vortix. The Vortix expects it.
Yeah, nice positioning there by Vortix. I think he has too many farms, though. Yeah, they're nice and close, but they cost wood, plus they're extremely slow compared to other food.
Yeah, defender's advantage here for Vortix. Great job. And Nilly, I'm like getting really excited right now because it felt like the previous game was a little lackluster. And I missed out in the first game too. So this nice game here, I'm liking it as it goes back and forth. And yeah, talk to me a little bit more about the farm thing. I want to hear your thoughts on that as we have KASVA on the left.
Well, obviously farms do cost wood, right? In Age of Empires 4, they never run out though, so it's a one-time investment, but food income simply slower than, for example, deer, which we still see some at the front, so maybe sending some more villagers there could have been an option, but obviously they would be exposed. Yep.
Looks like both players parting ways on the right, and good defense here again from Vortix, as he's going to go back to deer. Yeah, maybe he feels that transitioning into farms alongside some of the other food eco is just better in the long term. I could definitely see that. But, oh man, I'm wondering if this is fully walled. It's a little tricky to figure it out.
I think it's
I feel
open.
like it's still possible for KASVA to run around in the north.
Oh, and he won't see. Let's see. KASVA? It feels like he clicked in.
Yeah, I think he did. And this means Vortix is kind of assuming an awful lot here. He thinks the wall is going to be enough for him. It is not enough for him. Now, there's not a ton of vills here, but if he hits the berries or the golds, I mean, okay, I take it back. There's a ton of vills there.
Oh, attack at the backside. That's really big for Vortix as well. Found, I would think, like 5 villager kills. How many is he suffering now at home?
Wow, maybe 1 or 2? I mean, I'm just impressed with the reaction here because he was also defending his hunt at the same time. But KASVA's got so many knights here, Nilly. And it's a bit of a base trade here. Look at this. It's like both players can't easily defend themselves. Wow.
Oh, now they're really taking off the gloves here. And villagers at the wood have to be pulled. So many knights under Vortix TC.
I mean, you could say the same for KASVA. This is nuts. I mean, the big difference for me right now is the numbers, like you said. But Vortix at least does have some additional units that he could maybe send another wave forward with. KASVA didn't have anything at home there, Nilly, and now we need to check the idols and everything. We've got like 28 villagers for Vortix. At KASVA is at 25-ish? Wow, it's still so close.
25-ish. We can get 38 actually.
Oh,
you can find this out. Okay.
Yeah, I got that way wrong. Sorry, I looked at the wrong the wrong area.
But still, more knights for Vortix then, right? We have 12 knights for KASVA, and Vortix is sitting on 10. So actually a good lead for KASVA. And guess what? It worked out once. Why not raid there twice?
Yeah, and I guess Vortix is a little distracted. He didn't think maybe send a Vill over there. I like that from KASVA. I like the lack of hesitation here and just forcing reactions constantly. And oh, man, what an attack. Ouch, man, that's huge. You've got the idle time, you've got the Vill losses, and you don't have a proper counterattack coming across for Vortix. This is amazing for KASVA.
Oh yeah, yes, to love this. Absolutely. 40 population now for Vortix. KASVA is sitting on 54, and we'll find more villager kills.
Yeah, and he'll be happy with that. And since he's got knights and he's got a horse as well, he can just run away. You know, he could just end up running right out of here. Doesn't have to stress too much, and this is definitely the spot of the game where you start to think, in theory, granted, KASVA's got a bunch of idols constantly. In theory, KASVA should be able to make more knights, as he also hits the area on the left, near the outpost.
Where are those villagers going now? That could be a really, really risky mill. And what are those wild farms here? Holy moly.
Wild farms? Hello? I assume you're talking about KASVA?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's a fine farm, Nilly. I don't have the efficiency stats for AoE4 yet, but that's fine.
Okay. If you allow it, I will allow it as well.
Thank you, Nilly. And I'll allow skirmisher counterattacks. How's that sound?
Okay. Fair enough. Oh, now build a mill next to a boar. And boars are very different in Age of Empires 4 compared to Age of Empires 2. I'm not sure if those are actually winning. Okay, Sentinel Knight as well. Yeah, okay, no, they're enough.
I think it's going to be fine. I could see what you mean about taking a risk there, right? I mean, he has the lead right now. If he were to lose those villagers, it could be a mistake for him. But here he comes, charging in, and great fight from KASVA. I love the patience. Also love the throaty screams from these knights as they go into the attack. That's sick stuff.
Chasing down the knights. And 16 knights here. We see Vortix running away with only 10 knights. Production simply won't be that great. So many farms by him already. Holy moly, 16 farms.
That's a lot of farms. I mean, he's not going for the boar. You know, he's not going to take that risk. He's not in a position to take it either, Nilly. He feels like he's unable to take his deer. He actually has a villager inside. I believe it's a villager. Or is that a spearman inside?
Spearman, actually, yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, that won't be enough to defend his... down, and that guy didn't even want to fight. That's funny.
And that's something he really needed for the defense. Now goes for another barracks at home. The defensive outpost. That barracks likely to fall. And KASVA doing all the right moves to keep himself ahead. But the counterattack is the big question here. with
Yeah, it's
Vortix.
like you have this whole army here, and if you're not seeing army from Vortix, you kind of feel like you need to push because he's coming to your base. And that's what KASVA will do. I think he's making the right call here, Nilly, to take this fight, and he will brace himself at home. And even though the spearmen are in some ways cost efficient long term, there's just not enough. Numbers is the biggest thing. And here comes Vortix's attack. And KASVA doesn't have a lot at home, but he was able to hop some into the outpost. He actually has so many outposts. He could just play defensively that way.
Yeah, really, really good job there for sure. And I think we might see Vortix going down to like 25 villages, 20 in the TC, 5 in the tower, and that's kind of it. And guess what?
Wow.
We see a tap out.
Yeah, series continues here. And I don't know if you see these Royal Knights. They did like a weird little ring around the rosy. But KASVA seemed a lot better in that situation there. It started off with, I think, getting to feudal age faster and getting the Royal Knights out faster. Simply, he had those 2 villager kills. And yes, he did lose a Royal Knight or 2 immediately after that. But then he had the numbers at home. So the meta seems fairly established for a French war on Arabia. You just make Royal Knights, you try and out-eco and out-knight the opponent. KASVA did that. And well played, KASVA.
Yeah, really love that. And I think it was really unfortunate for Vortix. Maybe at one point we can go and analyze that one again in his point of view. And that night, I have no idea how that one slipped through the gold.
I know, it was just like right along the edge of the map. He even expected it. He even had his army there, but unfortunately it wasn't really good enough for him. And then it was just one after the other for KASVA. Now that is like, if we're going to be comparing it to Age of Empires 2, which I think at times we should, we do come from Age 2 after all, that is unique, because if you think of a scout war in Age 2, one scout going into the gold like that when there's 2 or 3 scouts from the opponent, that's just not a thing, right? But Royal Knights are so good at killing vills that it makes sense in that situation.
347 as a feudal age timing. That was just really, really fast. I'm not sure if I remember like sub 4-minute timings there a lot.
Okay. Well, KASVA did open up the series with French, so I think he, like many players, probably practiced them the most, and he had something figured out there, that's for sure.
Oh, and now Vortix, he is going to punish. As we said earlier, Boulder Bay, probably the strongest map for French. And Vortix now picks Boulder Bay, goes for French himself, and KASVA is playing Mongols.
That's really smart. Yeah, so again, the reason for this is because you can only play with a civilization until you win with it. So KASVA just won the French war, and now he's in a pickle here, because if he loses one more game, he's out of the quarters. So Nilly, in the end, it came back to Boulder Bay with French. So we might have brought it up at the wrong time, but it was good you brought it up so we could think about that ahead of time.
Well, it's still French, we're still going strong, and the big question will be, what will KASVA do against that? Will be tricky. French so crazy because Boulder Bay obviously map with lots and lots of water, and French have access to a castle age ship. Kind of like they have access to the Knight, which is a castle age unit, and can just go wild there, called the Hulk.
I have a general question for you. Okay. So Age of Empires 4 is very different in terms of from civilization to civilization, whereas Age 2 has differences, but not to the same extent if you think just Dark Age and Feudal Age. You have very similar openings in Dark Age and Feudal Age for each civ, and it gets different as the game goes on in Age 2, not in Age 4. We're talking about Boulder Bay right now. We're talking about how good Franks are going to be on Boulder Bay, but that's because like Franks operate in a way that suits that map. So I guess my question is, do you think while the civilizations all being different right away with Age 4 is like exciting, do you think that's going to lead to more like map wins and big imbalances based on certain situations?
It certainly runs the risk, because especially the more crazy we get with maps and the more we move away from Arabia, the more civ wins we have, right? We have that same problem in Age of Empires 2. At a map with shorefish, Indians become broken. And remove the town center, Malians and Persians, and yada yada. And we can go on too many berries, too many sheep, and always civilizations excel there. And I think that map designers have to be really careful to really think about all 8 civilizations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. Like that's kind of I think running the risk is probably the best way to say it. That's kind of where my mind is at currently with Age 4 over the long term. A lot of variation in the beginning. My worry is map dependent, of course, that maybe there will be less variation in the middle once things get figured out. But yeah, like in Age 2, the biggest thing is map scripting. Like that's such an important thing. So hopefully with a working scenario editor and variation being possible with maps, that tournament organizers and map makers will be able to consider these things once civs are more figured out.
Yeah, that's something in the future, right? Right now we can't even create maps. So, yeah.
Wait, what? No way.
Well, there's no map editor, no?
I was being sarcastic, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, that's pretty bad. But we'll see, we remain positive in some ways, Nilly.
I'll quickly get some sugar water for myself, and
Sure.
you remain positive on your own.
Oh God, Nilly's like, get out of here with your positivity. Sugar water. Actually, I'm unsure if I'm muted on Nilly's end right now, so I run the risk of making fun of him in front of his own audience. But why doesn't he call it soda? I'm pretty sure he drinks like Pepsi Max cherry something. I don't know the exact flavor. That might be a European thing. Here in the States, we say soda. Or if you're from like Minnesota, you say pop, which is, I don't know if that's just Minnesota, but I still remember that because I had some friends from Minnesota growing up. So, okay, game number 4 coming up. Nilly's getting his sugar water.
Already got
You
it.
can call. Oh, hello, Nilly. Sorry, you're back.
Could you call it Minnesota?
Oh my God. How did I just set you up like that, dude?
I stole it from my chat.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but it was a good one.
People said in the UK they say soda to refer to fizzy water. Yeah, I guess it's just. So is it common to say sugar water instead of soda?
No.
Then?
No one except me says that. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not an official term at all. Just my
Then
like.
why-
I always drink the like sugar replacement drinks as well, like
Okay.
the Pepsi Max version,
Sure.
or like the Coke Light kind or Coke Zero versions. But I don't know. It's at some point started as a trend, and I kept it.
All right, I was just curious because you're still drinking soda, but it's fine. I will not die on that hill.
Okay.
You're probably keeping them in business, by the way. The amount of times you drink that. I don't know if that's like the most popular flavor ever. They look at their analytics and they're like, well, there's this one guy in Germany ordering 30 cases a month. So I think we should probably keep this going, guys.
Actually, one of my supermarkets asked me, like, I always want to buy like the 6-pack together.
Okay.
They actually asked me if they should keep 2 6-packs back for me.
Oh,
that I
that's
get them.
amazing. You're a guy for that. Oh man, I used to have a place back in Pennsylvania where like I was the guy for Indian food for a while. It was
Oh,
crazy.
really?
Like I get there, yeah, and he'd be like, "Hey, we want to put a new recipe on the menu, but we're not sure people will like it. Do you want to try this?"
What? Nice.
Exactly. So you've got a thing. It's just with some sugar water. So, all right. So talk me through. We think French are just so streamlined for this map, Nilly. Talk me through what your expectations are for KASVA. He's gonna have to branch out here a little bit, right?
KASVA now playing yellow. What tournament organizer did allow that one? You can't even pick your color, right? How did it randomly switch to yellow?
I have no clue.
That's
When you said randomly switching to yellow, I was gonna ask if he could actually do that because I didn't think it was possible.
Weird stuff. So obviously the map in the map pool here with most food, most water ever. So we heavily go on to wood, as we can see, 2 on food, and then we try to go for shorefish and the dock that costs 175 wood. So pretty standard here. Big problem is if you build a dock, you can actually build over shorefish. Big difference to Age of Empires 2 as well. And as mentioned earlier, French simply so good because they have the strongest ship in Feudal Age.
Yeah. And that is the Hulk. Now, the Hulk is quite expensive, at least based on AoE 2 resources. Granted, the resources are very different. So, Nili, comparatively, what do Mongols have to potentially face up against the Hulk? Do they have, like, cheaper options that would maybe you could outmass the Hulk with, or are they kind of
How is the unit called? Hawk?
Hulk.
How would you type it?
Listen, sugar water, okay? You don't get to make fun of my pronunciation of Hulk if you call something that is clearly soda sugar water.
Okay, fair enough. So Mongols, I think they need to get creative. I think something like a tower rush could be an option, some heavy water focus, and we can't just see him trying to go for his way weaker Feudal Age units.
Okay, so I'm actually looking through because the costs are something I'm still not used to on water especially. So, yeah, you've got some options here. I don't know how competitive a few junks would be, which is just a great competitive name for an RTS game is junk. But yeah, I don't think junks are really good.
How did they come up with that? That's really weird.
I don't know. Like, I'm sure that junk has some historical tie-in, but I'm sure there's other ships they could have thought of as well. That's funny. But what is really beneficial right now, and maybe I should have realized this, but while casting in Age 4, because it's basically like, I guess it's due to the simplicity of the UI. You actually can see some stuff players can see. So I'm able to hover over and see the cost here. So Hulk is 300 wood, 240 gold with 45-second production time. And then you can only produce them in Feudal Age, of course. And then if you look over at the other side, we've got 120 wood and 90 gold for the light junk. Produced a little faster, but I think it's too light to be able to deal with the Hulk.
Yeah, I would assume like 4 junks are beating a Hulk, 3 are losing. That's roughly what I would guess.
That's pretty crazy, and you've got to think it's not that much cheaper. Like, it doesn't produce that much faster either.
No.
Because if you think production time, like if you need 4 to beat 1, you're talking 35 seconds times 4, and unless you make a second dock. So, do you think there's a world where KASVA could maybe try and take this to land? I mean, they're very far apart on this map, which is why we talk water.
Yeah, and because water efficiency is just so nice, right? With the extra fishing ships there, so much economy on water as an option. I think at one point you have to go land, simply because I think he will lose water.
Yeah. Maybe it's always tough to know how much of a balance you want. Some players are more all in than others, but maybe instead of just fully giving up water, you try and go for some possible way to take out fishing ships. Like, you know how on Bay in Age 2 you tend to see some demos from time to time to take out fishing ships. I don't know if there's any AoE 4 equivalent where you can get like a quick little attack to take out fish and then transition to land, but that's there. Maybe KASVA could toy around with some type of idea along those lines.
I now have to... Well, it's the beautiful thing to have your chat around as well, right? I think I have a problem with my graphic settings. The game is not... Like, for me, the game is running 100% smoothly, but my stream is actually lagging if I'm showing water.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's really weird. I see my stream lagging, and if I'm just showing something else, it's 100% fine.
See, Nili, this is why I've been such a long subscriber to you, because you have a very good taste in maps. And clearly, even your stream doesn't like a map where French just with an all-in on water. Yeah, I'm not dropping any frames when I do it, so that...
No, I'm not dropping frames. That's the weird thing as well. My stream has 0% drop frames.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, but they're saying there's lag there.
Yeah, I can even see my OBS is lagging.
Wow, so maybe it takes a lot of, like... Maybe it takes more PC power to be able to look at water for whatever reason. That's very odd.
I don't know. So barracks now by KASVA, but so far away from his opponent.
Exactly, yeah.
Huh.
Very far away. He's got the silver tree over here. So maybe he goes for the early trade here. You know, that's something I didn't think about. Some type of investment into land.
Oh, let's see about that. Where is the... Oh, actually the trade post is really far away. Could be really nice, but Vortix, by just winning water with one single Hulk, could just be fine. And now an outpost by KASVA in no man's land, kind of. What is that going to achieve?
Is that... Okay, is that an outpost? I'm trying to click it right now. I think we're talking about the same thing. I don't know, maybe like a sneak dock so we can keep some fish alive? That's the only thing that comes to mind for me.
Is it that sneaky, though?
No, it's not, but it's as sneaky as you can be on this map, I guess. There's the Hulk.
For the Yam network, well, I'm not really sure if that's needed, though. Huh.
What was that? Sorry?
For the Yam network, so units, I think, walk faster, simply? But you can influence over, can spend, research have improved, in fact. No, it's actually for the upgrade. So he wants to tower up a bit.
Look at this. You have the scout attacking the freaking trade here. It'll take a while, but it is an annoyance. I'm sure that will be dealt with by some spearmen or something. So you're thinking that he's going to use he's going to try and go, when you say tuck up a bit, help me out here. Investment more into economy or military here?
Well, right now, he's just so far away from his opponent still. I think it's simply towers to have your your traders run faster. Plus, the traders can actually hop into those outposts if raided. So...
That's something I always forget about. That's tricky.
Yeah. I think it makes sense if you want to get the trade rolling. But I think simply losing water just means you should be so far behind to begin with.
Yeah, I really like the thought process behind this, though. Like, if this works, because water, we know, is clearly superior in so many situations. Like, if this works, what we said earlier about how the, like, maybe some situations are too strong for certain civilizations will actually not be the case. You can see the range of the outposts here, making another one right within the range to extend that range. It just takes so much time to get that, though, Nilly.
Yeah. And, like, Knights can just raid. Archer production already started as well. I don't see him defending it. He already lost 2 traders as well.
Yeah, 2, really? Oh, man. Was it to the scout that I missed?
No, the Knight actually was there.
Wow, yep. Missed that one. And that Vortix will also see this. It's not like this is a strategy that's hard to spot. It's right out in the middle of your face here. It's not like anything's hidden or sneaky.
I'm really happy for my PC and for the stream quality that we're actually not forced to watch water fights.
Just give up on water, people. Yeah, listen, if something important happens there, I won't even talk about it just for you.
Okay, nice, nice.
You've got some archers here for Vortix, though, and so he's bringing the Royal Knights in. He's got some archers now. KASVA has to fall back, and in terms of income per minute, Vortix is just all over the place with food, the wood, the golds. He's just so far ahead, and that outpost is not going to complete there either, Nilly. So that gets denied.
Oh, even building a ram already. Vortix, he's going ham. He will easily get that first outpost there.
Yeah, all right, not bad.
Trade is going to be completely stopped.
Can you, okay, explain to me, I see they're running faster now, right?
Yeah.
But do they have, is there speed based on how many outposts are in the network?
No, every outpost I think can give a boost of like 40 seconds.
Okay, but like, do they have to be? Does it work when they're within the range of it, or does it work when? Okay, that's what I thought.
Or I think no, I think the yeah.
There's a range to it, and I've actually never seen this attempted in a competitive setting, so. Trying to see. Either way, I mean, I don't think it really is going to matter here, unfortunately. I mean, this whole thing is just going to be blocked off here. Can't trade to that trade post in the south anymore, and just the military is so strong from Vortix, and the food count from the fish is amazing, and seems like a desperate attempt for KASVA to stop this, and it's just getting worse and worse for him now.
Wow, the KD will be horrible this game, unless it goes really long. But right now it feels like, what could be the KD? Like 20-1?
Is there even an easy way to show the total KD in the game here? I'm trying to look at it. It's got some...
Military killed? 8-5? No. Okay, it's closer than I thought.
I mean, yeah, I'm struggling to really realize how they're trying to show important info there, but...
Add military at the top, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not structured in a way that is too easy to pick up on.
And I don't... The math doesn't really check out there.
I know, I'm very confused by it. Like, does it make any sense to you, what you're seeing under military?
Not really. 9-9? Is it counting nodes, not counting buildings as well?
Like, someone's loss just went up, and then the kills never went up. And also, they highlight lost as if that's really good. Like, we're gonna highlight...
Well, that's Age of Empires 2 as well, right? You've got a star for, like, 19 years of the game.
True, but, you know, this is a game that just came out a month ago, so... Oh, man. Well, we'll have to get used to it for now until it gets better. Here comes KASVA. Maybe not his last stand, but certainly seems like it could be that as he tries to defend from this. He's got the horsemen. He's got some hardened spearmen. He's got plenty of exposed villagers, and he could lose that TC. He should lose that TC, actually, because he doesn't have the army to be able to stop the army from Vortix right now.
But it's just relatively good against those Rams TC. Obviously, I think 7,000 HP you're starting to see. The other one's only 2,000 HP, and Villagers still losing so much. Traders all idle, and it's looking really good for Vortix for the 3-1.
Yep, looks like it. And you mentioned it before game number 3 that Vortix knew, like many others possibly, that as the Rams are bugging out, he knew that this is a kind of an unbeatable civ on this map. And so he waited till KASVA got the win with Franks, then went for this map and used his own Franks. And I think we'll probably see more of that. Like, I don't know with the Mist and Marine Lord set, which is next, if they're going to be watching this, but you would think that that's got to be a strategy overall that players will remember. Like, Vortix looked really good here, Nilly. Like, he did lose game number 3, but he got outplayed there. I don't think he got out-strategized. And KASVA played really well. And then in all the other games, granted, I didn't catch all of game 1, it felt like Vortix just understands strategically what to do in more situations than KASVA.
Yeah, I think the series heavily went into the direction of Vortix in game number 1 already. Because he beat French, so he could basically play French to get a second win. Or if he loses his French, then he can go for Boulder Bay and win with French, guaranteed.
And if you're listening to this right now, and you're like, wow, it seems like French are really important in this first Age of Empires 1 tourney. Yeah, you'd be right. And it's not a completely foreign concept to talk about a civ and say, if you beat that civ, it's almost like a win and a half or 2 wins. I think I said that at the start of the day. Think of like the civ draft scenarios for Age 2. If you have like a mid-tier civ or a lower civ and beat a high civ, then you think long-term you're going to have more of an edge. So it happens. But French, man, we'll see more of